Welcome to the Housing Element Update Informational webinar. My name is Kate Rose and I'm an Associate Planner with the Office of Planning and Environmental Review. I'll be going over these slides with you today. The purpose of this webinar is to give you the housing element basics. We will answer questions like, what is a housing element and what does state law require? Please note that in addition to this webinar, we will be hosting 2 interactive webinars to discuss your experiences with housing in your community. These webinars will be on Wednesday, May 13th in the morning and Wednesday, May 27th in the evening. We will give you information on how to register at the end of this presentation. So if you'd like more of an opportunity to ask questions or provide your perspective, please mark your calendars. While we will be using webinar technology consistent with the current shelter-in-place order, we know that there is still no replacement for making direct contact with people. We are hopeful that we may be able to meet with county residents in person later in the project timeline. However, please know that we will follow the County Public Health Officer and CDC guidance and will only meet in person when it is safe to do so. Let's get started. Today we'll cover the following topics. What is a housing element? What is the purpose of the housing element? Housing needs assessment. Goals, policies, and programs. Sites inventory and analysis. Timeline, and public participation. A general plan is a document that acts as a blueprint for future development for all California cities and counties. There are 8 elements or topics that California law requires us to cover in a general plan. These topics include land use, circulation, and environmental justice, to name a few. One of the other required elements is the housing element. State housing law requires cities and counties to use the housing element to plan to meet the housing needs of all income groups. The county's housing element will cover an 8-year period of 2021 through 2029 and will result in modifications to the current 2013 through 2021 housing element to address the changing needs of county residents as well as changes to state housing law. The housing element is the only element which must be certified by the state. We must report to the County Board of Supervisors as well as the state annually on our progress toward meeting housing element goals. Generally speaking, housing elements guide the preservation, improvement, and development of housing. The purpose of the housing element is to identify and analyze existing and projected housing needs for all income groups, and to include goals, policies, and programs to address the identified needs. There are several issues that we are required to address in the housing element, but today we'll cover 3 of the main requirements. 1. The housing needs assessment. 2. The goals, policies, and programs. And 3. The sites inventory and analysis. Let's discuss the housing needs assessment first. The housing element must include information on the current and future housing needs of the county, including needs of lower-income households and people with special needs. Based on state housing law, the following groups are defined as special needs groups: seniors, people with disabilities, including developmental disabilities, large households with 5 or more people, female-headed households, people experiencing homelessness, and farm workers. We must identify the housing needs of each special needs group. As part of the housing needs assessment, we must also analyze the amount of households that are overpaying for housing, the amount of households that are overcrowded, and the condition of the existing housing stock. One of the ways that we determine the overall housing need for Sacramento County is through the Regional Housing Needs Allocation. Every 8 years, the state gives each regional body, known as Councils of Governments, or COGs, the number of housing units each region must plan for. The COGs then break down the total number of units into income categories, and they give each city and county their fair share of the regional number. Each city and county is required to show that it can accommodate its fair share of units for each income category. This process is known as the Regional Housing Needs Allocation, or RHNA, and it is a key requirement of the housing element. Sacramento County is within the 6-county region of the Sacramento Area Council of Governments, or SACOG, and Sacramento County's total RHNA for the year 2021 through 2029 is 21,272 units. This table displays the RHNA broken down into each income category. Let's focus on the goals, policies, and programs part of the housing element next. State law requires that housing elements contain goals, policies, and programs. The goals define the endpoint we want to reach to address identified housing needs. The policies are the course of action we want to take to guide decision-making. And the programs are specific actions that we will take to implement a policy and achieve our goals. State law requires that housing elements contain programs or actions which ensure that there are enough sites where housing development can occur within the county, assist with housing development which is affordable to low and moderate income households, remove limitations to housing development or make it easier for housing development to occur, such as through reducing permits or fees, conserve or improve the existing housing stock, preserve the existing affordable housing stock, which is at risk to conversion to market rate, promote fair housing opportunities, and ensure that county residents do not face barriers to accessing housing because of their race, color, age, sex, religion, national origin, family status, or disability, and promote the use of accessory dwelling units, also known as granny flats, as affordable housing options for low and moderate income households. Here is an example of an existing housing element program which meets state requirements to promote fair housing opportunities. Program D25 states that the county will refer complaints of housing discrimination to fair housing providers. We implement this program by providing the Renters Helpline, a free telephone and web-based resource that provides dispute resolution and fair housing services to residents in a housing crisis or dispute. The Renters Helpline focuses on tenant education to reduce housing discrimination and promote public awareness of fair housing laws and rights. The program supports a housing element policy which states that the county shall continue to provide funding for equal housing opportunity programs. Here is another example of an existing housing element program. This one meets the state requirement to assist development of housing for low and moderate income households. Program E7 states that the county will provide gap financing to construct affordable rental housing. We implement this program with the help of Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency, or SHRA. We give SHRA funds collected by our Housing Trust Fund and our Affordable Housing Ordinance so that they can finance affordable housing development. Here is an illustration of a successful outcome of this program, the Courtyard Inn Motel Reuse Project, which will result in 92 units for low and very low income households. This program supports a housing element policy which states that the county will help developers who construct affordable rental units. Lastly, the element must also include an inventory of sites within the county that could accommodate the future housing needs for the years 2021 through 2029. This is known as the Sites Inventory and Analysis. As a part of its Sites Inventory and Analysis, The county must show that there is enough land zoned at appropriate densities and with adequate infrastructure to accommodate the RHNA. The county must also demonstrate that its code does not limit housing production. For example, the county must have zones where multifamily housing is allowed by right or without a use permit. It is important to note that state law does not require the county to build affordable housing. Rather, the law focuses on things that cities and counties have control over, such as zoning and permit procedures. Here is a map which shows the sites identified for the current housing element in the Vineyard area. The green sites are agricultural residential sites. The pink sites are low-density residential sites, which may allow single-family houses and duplexes. The yellow sites are medium-density residential sites, which may allow apartments and condominiums. And the brown sites are high-density residential sites, which allow higher-density apartments. We need higher-density sites in order to provide housing that is affordable to lower-income households. The county does not currently have enough appropriately zoned land to meet the RHNA requirements for low and moderate-income households for 2021 through 2029. Therefore, as a part of its housing element, the county will need to rezone land to increase the amount of medium and high-density residential sites in the county. If there is property in your community that you think would make a good site for medium or high-density residential development, or if you are a property owner who is willing to have your property rezoned to a higher density, please email us at housingelement@saccounty.net. The county's housing element update must be certified by the state by May 2021. In order to meet this deadline, we will conduct public outreach in spring of 2020. We will prepare the draft housing element from summer 2020 through fall 2021. We will host public workshops with the Sacramento County Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors in summer and fall of 2020. Due to the current shelter-in-place order, we will be conducting our initial public outreach remotely using webinar technology and surveys. We will meet again with members of the public and stakeholders in fall of 2020. We are hopeful that we may be able to conduct the fall outreach in person. However, we will follow the county public health officer and CDC guidance and will only meet in person when it is safe to do so. Then we will take the housing element to the Board of Supervisors for adoption in May 2021, and we will receive state certification in May of 2021. Please note that these dates are estimates and are subject to change. We have several ways for you to participate in the housing element update. If you'd like to stay informed of our progress, please sign up for our email list using the link on the slide. Please also consider filling out this survey to tell us about your housing experience in the county. And lastly, if you'd like to participate in a more interactive webinar, please join us on Wednesday, May 13th from 9 to 11 a.m. or on Wednesday, May 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. Register using the links on the slide. During these webinars, you will have an opportunity to ask questions about the housing element and let us know about your housing experience in the county. Register using the links on the slide. If you'd like more information, please visit our website using the link on the slide. You may also email us at housingelement@saccounty.net. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the housing element update. Please reach out if you have any questions. We'd love to hear from you.